And salutations, folks. Another episode of Inside IU Volleyball in Sherry Dunbar's office. Here's Cavanaugh, joined by Sherry herself. Coach, thanks again for having me, as always.
I feel like I just saw you about 12 hours
ago.
So nice to see you again, though.
I feel like I'm swimming in some sort of continuum, getting back from Chicago a little late. I want to talk about that trip a little later. But first, the two matches that you had this weekend, Illinois on Friday and Northwestern on Sunday. A little different there, but a lot of fight in both matches. A lot of stuff to like from this weekend on the individual and team side.
Yeah, it was just a much different weekend than last weekend. I think when we sat down and talked about our matches, Ohio State, Penn State, I wasn't as happy with our team because I thought we lost the fight that we had been improving on in practice and throughout the season. And so to see that come back and have a great week of practice, last week, and then take that into a big weekend on the road. We were on the road 8 out of 10 matches, which is huge in the Big Ten, and a lot of adversity to kind of come through, especially when you're struggling as a team during the season. So to finish off that 8 out of 10 stretch and play as hard as we did, we didn't come out with the wins we wanted, but we came out with the fight we wanted, and with a team as young as we are, we were proud of the display they put on the court.
And it's been just, I don't want to say baffling, but it's been confusing just to watch this and see the team come as close as they have, as many times as they have, and you think at some point that something's got to give, because there is a lot to like individually, and like I said before, Amelia Anderson had a tremendous contest against Northwestern, Jordan Haverly an individual milestone. We can talk about that a little bit later, but just the way that the individuals played as part of a larger team concept, and with the fight that you talked about earlier, that's got to be what you were looking for, really, from the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think, to look at the Illinois match and you say, yes, we lost 3-0, but if you were at the match, it was a very entertaining match to watch, and it was really point for point all the way through. We had some really good opportunities in that first set to win that set, and I think there were 21 lead changes or ties in that. And it was just a good set for us, and even the third set, it was just back-to-back, point for point. Good volleyball, a lot of good rallies, and I thought we followed a game plan really well. So I think as a whole, the entire weekend, there was only periods of time, one set, the first set against Northwestern, I thought we did not come ready to play. But then to be able to bounce back and play really hard and, the rest of the match and take it to 5 was huge. And like you said, there was some big individual changes that we saw. Amelia Anderson, we've been really working hard on getting her feet to the ball and really working on her hitting and seeing better shots and getting up to the ball earlier to make better decisions. And I thought she really transferred that information into the match, especially against Northwestern, but even against Illinois, and had 20 kills and hit for a good percentage for her and really helped her team. Morgan Leach, I thought, had a really good weekend. She's a consistent hard worker for us every day in practice, and to see her come through in a big weekend and play at that high of a level was very good. So yeah, I thought there was overall some very good things that we can take into practice this week, and especially for a four-match homestand to end the season.
Another change of pace that we saw was the switch to the 6'2", Katie Gallagher again available, and going with both Megan and Katie on the floor, alternating, and it looked to me better than it did early in the year, because Megan looks that much more comfortable in the flow, and there's a lot of continuity that goes with those two as setters go.
Well, I think that's the good thing about our team. We started with the 6'2" early in the season and then just didn't feel like our passing was good enough to really continue doing that into the Big Ten season. But now, as we're back into it and we've had some injuries with our setters and different things, we felt like our block needed to be a little bit better. Our passing has gotten better, and Kate and Jordan have done a really good job of taking control of that, and Taylor Lebo has really come in and done some great things. So we felt like we wanted to try it again, just to add a new dimension to what we were doing with our offense, but also just to provide a bigger block for us with our block defense. And I thought it helped us tremendously this weekend, and I thought the team adjusted to it very well. We worked on it in practice this past week, but that's what depth can give to you, being able to use Allison Hammond or Jasmine McDonald as right sides, and primarily as blockers, but we hope to kind of integrate them into the offense a lot more as we go along too. So yeah, I thought Katie and Megan did a good job, and I think Megan's only gaining confidence, and this is a great season for her to get Big Ten experience as a freshman. It's invaluable as we go forward.
Would you say that the block, even if the numbers for blocks themselves weren't there were a lot more good touches, I thought, over the course of the last 2 games?
And maybe that's more important than the blocks. The best teams in the country, you're going to block 3 or 4 balls a set, but what it's about is getting positive block touches to be able to turn that around into transition. And maybe one of our best weekends we've had. When it looks good, it's clean. You watch it, we're watching during the Northwestern match, and you look out on the floor at times, and it was just very clean volleyball. And we can play at that level, and we have played at that level, and so we just have to do it more consistently and reduce those errors, as we've talked about a lot. And I thought we got a lot closer this weekend.
Yeah, a lot to like over the course of this week. The games themselves are one thing. We'll come back with a little more on the trip itself, because the last road trip of the year, a lot of good stuff to be had there. We've got a very special guest right up next. This week joining us, a special guest. Shane Wilkinson could not be here, but we have a stand-in for him that I think should be sufficient. First question: the trip up to Illinois and Evanston on a sleeper bus, was that something you had a good time with? I agree. Were you a little freaked out at the fact that it used to be a sleeper bus for an esteemed rock and roll band? It was also fun, the trip to Evanston. We got to play a little horse. You have a pretty good shot, from what I understand. And finally, last question about the trip. I liked how there was a
Wow, really? I stepped out for a few minutes to get the mail, and you're interviewing my football.
Shane, what?
This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
I didn't think you would. No. Shane, wait, no. Cut it. All right, back. Serious time now. Back again. Good stuff. Good stuff there. The trip to Chicago, though, we got the chance to take those sleeper buses, separate the players and the coaches, give the players some time together, take them out. The Saturday between, there's a day in Chicago that they get to spend up in there. Just what does that do for team morale at this point in the season? It seemed nice to give the girls that space, give them the time to do some stuff. It seemed positive.
I thought it was just a good weekend overall. We're very fortunate that we take charter planes, to a lot of the Big Ten matches, but this trip was one that we felt like we could save a little money on and take the sleeper buses, and the kids actually love the sleeper buses, maybe more than the planes sometimes.
I'm also a big fan of the sleeper buses.
Oh, it's great. I mean, they are luxury buses. Kiss, the band Kiss, had our bus.
It was clean. It was clean before.
But that was their tour bus, and so that was pretty cool. But they have bunk beds, they have TVs, they can watch movies, they can study if they want, sleep, all those type of things. So it was great. But, it was an interesting weekend, and we were very fortunate. This is our first weekend that we've had to play Friday, Sunday. A lot of times with football, playing home games at different venues, we have to change our matches to Sunday, and it's our first opportunity to do that. And it came at a good time, honestly. When you get later in the season and the grind is there and you have the injuries and things like that, the time off is not a bad thing. So we took Saturday as a good day to get some practice in at Northwestern. We got some study hall in, we got some film in, and then we took them and had a great meal at California Pizza Kitchen, let them run around the mall a little bit and just relax, and spend some time together. So I thought it was a valuable weekend for us, even though it makes it a long trip. It was a valuable weekend for the team.
And back to work again this weekend. Finally a home game, some home cooking at the new gym. You got Iowa and Nebraska. Just what are you looking for from those two contests, especially an Iowa squad who got the better of you last time?
Yeah, another 5-set loss that we had at Iowa, so looking to kind of avenge that and come back and play with a lot of fight. And what I'm looking for is the same team that showed up this past weekend, and looking to make a breakthrough at home and looking to end the season on a really positive note. And I really feel good about, the 4 matches we have left. We have a lot of opportunities to either win or play at a very high level and give ourselves more opportunities to find wins. And that's what it's all about. We talked to them after the locker room, and I wasn't mad at them or anything. I said, we just got to keep getting back to this stage. If you put yourselves in this position, we're going to find a way to break through, and it's a very young team. And so this is valuable experience for their future, but also to end the season on a really positive note. And they're going to make some more breakthroughs this season, I guarantee that.
Get a young team, one in a point there that we've touched on throughout the season. The only real standby you've had for a long time, Jordan Haverley, along with the rest of these seniors. She had an interesting milestone this past weekend, the first player in program history with 1,500 kills and 1,000 digs. Just real quick on what that means for longevity purposes, the fact that she's been there that long and been able to contribute to this program for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, you know, a 6-rotation player, which I think is a very valuable type player, and you know, we look for more of those as the future goes along, and especially the way the Big Ten is, you know, running offense out of the back row and having someone that can, you know, keep you on the floor. You know, running a 6'2", you can't be subbing in and out all the time and doing things like that. So somebody that just can be an all-around player, and that's what she is. So that opportunity, and she had a great match against Northwestern, and I think had 17 digs or so, and so that was really good for her, and I'm looking for her to end her career on a really high note these next 4 matches at home. So yeah, really proud of her accomplishments and the work she's put in and what she's done for our program.
Yeah, the first, hopefully not the last, with
Absolutely.
the way you guys run.
Yeah, and that's what you look at, you know, all these accolades kids get and everything, you know, it's a great milestone for them, and it's something we want to shoot for, just like we do with recruiting. You got to keep out recruiting what you have, and the milestones come, and you try to break those milestones all the time. That's how you make a better program.
Yeah, again, some good volleyball this weekend. It's Iowa and Nebraska, Friday, Saturday at the University Gym. Get there if you can. If you can't, I'll have the call right here on IUHoosiers.com. That's all we got. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Sherry Dunbar, Chris Cavanaugh saying, so long, travel well. Until we meet again, thanks for watching.